Hey, Jinx!
Truck stop!
That's right. I'm not done making road trip videos yet, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that I forgot to talk about. When I was going through my Harbor Freight pickups, I completely forgot to mention these two knives, which I meant to as a nice introduction. But instead, it's going to be an after-the-fact outroduction? Something like that. Anyway, I've talked about these knives already, so I won't go into like super detail or anything, but this knife also comes to us from Harbor Freight, or at least it did, and is also a Gordon knife. I say did because these were actually recalled because they don't lock up very well, and there were several injuries, and you can still get them on eBay, but they're kind of hard to find because you're technically not supposed to list recalled products, I don't think. But I see them here and there, and I finally did get my hands on one after years of looking, not too intensely, but one popped up, and I snatched it up. And then that moves me to the other knife, which looks exactly the same, because it almost is. This is a Smith & Wesson. This is a Smith & Wesson SWAT 2 knife. Yes, I did a whole video about these. First production run, and obviously this is a very close copy. There are subtle differences. You'll have to see the video to find out those. But speaking of Smith & Wesson, I spotted this knife at a Walmart in Florida. It was the only one left, so I got it for cheap. I think I got it for like 15 bucks. It was listed for 20 something. And I wanted to get it because it actually looks pretty good. Just, you know, first impressions in the case. And here it is. This is the model number 609, and I was immediately drawn to it because of the way it looks. It's got a neat stone-washed finish, deep ride pocket clip. It is a frame lock with very good lockup. It's got a handsome tan inlay with the Smith & Wesson logo printed in there like that. Some texturing going on here, and some stepping going on here. There's just a lot of neat things about it. And even though it's riding on Teflon spacers, it has pretty good action. It's not completely flickable. Oh, I just did that. I forgot that the last time I put it down, I did put some lubrication in the pivot, so I guess that is has worked its way in. But yeah, as you can see, it takes a little bit of effort. But I guess, yeah, you can flick it. So the Smith & Wesson 609, the side that's like completely stonewashed sort of reminds me of, I've got a stonewashed black Kershaw Cryo that I carried for like 2 years or maybe more. And that look just sort of reminded me of that. So I was like, wow, Smith & Wesson actually making a decent knife? I had to find out. And even though I haven't carried this and used it yet, I gotta say that, so far, it's pretty good, especially compared to a lot of the other Smith & Wesson products that I've had in my pocket. And I completely forgot to talk about this knife, the Western Active Honey Badger D2 small wart cleaver model. I chose this knife to be my companion on my road trip, and even though I didn't use it very much, it was an absolute pleasure to carry this thing. The pocket clip has just the perfect amount of tension, and the way it directs itself in your pocket, it was a joy to carry. And since Smoky Mountain Knife Works has temporarily suspended their monthly box subscription service, I got to carry this for an extended amount of time. I've been carrying this pretty much every day for the past few weeks. And I love cutting with it. It's D2 steel, stayed as sharp as it did out of the box because I don't really pound on it too much. A lot of boxes, a lot of tape, a lot of plastic, and I'll never have to worry about sharpening it as long as I stay to those materials. And that is pretty good. You know, when I carried like the Kershaw Cryo, or I carried a Spyderco Tenacious. I carried a Tenacious for like, gosh, almost 5 years. And I had to sharpen that thing like every month. Because that 8-star CR13 MOV steel, you know, depending on how much activity you give it, it gets dull. But D2 is just enough that it won't, with cardboard and plastic and such. So, yeah, this very quickly became like one of my pocket favorites. I highly recommend it, especially for the price. At an antique store in South Florida, I spotted this in one of the display cabinets. And I was immediately drawn to that celluloid-looking handle. It might be celluloid. It might be Bakelite. I'm actually not sure. It could be either one. But the sheath looked really, really old, and it was priced at like $30-something. And I immediately just like, yep, I want that. Unlock the cabinet. And here's why. So, on the other side of the handle, this is from the 1938 New York World's Fair. You see, with the famous Art Deco sphere and spire logo from that year. The World's Fair isn't a thing that happens anymore, and I think it would be really cool if we started doing that again. So yeah, this was like immediately before U.S.'s involvement in World War II. We have some patina and a little rust on the handle, and the tip is kind of a little bent out of shape, but everything is still kind of solidly together. There's these like wood spacers in between the outer scales and the tang. Hard to see the maker's mark, but I can make out Providence, Rhode Island, which means this knife was probably made by Colonial Cutlery, and you can maybe see the letter C above the P there. So, yeah, coming to us from Colonial Cutlery, I think. Now, this sheath, I don't think came with this knife, for a couple of reasons. One, Providence, Rhode Island is in the United States, and the sheath says, made in Finland. That was clue number one. Clue number two was, this does not look like it was made in 1938. I don't have any leather. I'm just clearing my throat.
Sound like a cat throwing up
As a hairball. All right. Don't judge. Third reason why I don't think this was originally with the knife is, well, you saw when I first had it, it doesn't fit the knife with that decorated scale facing up. Why would they do that? And the fifth reason, I forgot how many I got to, is that you can just put the knife in like this. So, yeah, that is obviously not really meant for that. But lengthwise, it fits pretty well. So, the 1938 World's Fair Art Deco Colonial-made commemorative knife. That is a mouthful for a time long gone. Among all the things that I like to collect, I'm also into fragrances. I haven't picked one up in a very long time, a few years. They're not cheap, and, well, we had a little bit of a plague going on last year. Still ongoing, I know. But anyway, Walmart has a lot of really budget fragrances. So for like $15, I think, they have this Land of the Free series where they have a whole bunch of different national parks. I think they had Yosemite. I can't remember all the rest. There was like 4 or 5 of them. I went with the Grand Canyon. Warm and solar? Okay. Notes of pear, cacti, and oak moss. Now, I've been to the Grand Canyon, and I don't remember smelling pears. There were cacti, though. Anyway. Yes, the Budget Land of the Free fragrance series from Walmart. I like it. It is a light, a little bit of floral, a little bit of citrus. Yeah, I guess that oak moss, I don't know what oak moss on its own smells like, but there is a little bit of some kind of a musk there too. It sounds musky. It's also vegan. No phthalates. I don't know what this molecule is. It looks kind of like if you turned benzene into a clock, except the hands of the clock are not in the center. Clean fragrance. Whatever the fuck that means. Last thing I wanted to mention was something else that I picked up from Harbor Freight. I just forgot to talk about it. The Apache 3800 weatherproof protective case. Yeah, this is one of those cases where they have a bunch of foam. This is one of those cases where it's filled with foam cubes, so you can pluck out the cubes and put whatever you want in there. But it's yeah, weatherproof, not just waterproof, weatherproof. Rest assured that this thing will not be penetrated. The JJ Jinx orange one, and it was the last of the orange ones, and I was very happy about that because from what I know, they're not actually very easy to find. They tend to sell out pretty quickly, or they don't make very many of them. They had lots of black, tan, and OD green ones. This was a good purchase. It was like 40 bucks. Oh wow, these cubes are tiny. Yeah, you can customize this to fit in all kinds of things. And then to put on top, you have this really neat, ooh, egg crate type foam. And I also grabbed, because these were on sale, for like $7, one of these plastic waterproof ammo boxes. It's got a handle, it's got the latch thing, it's got a rubbery liner, and yeah, it's an ammo case thing. $7, that's a great deal. I've had some steel ones in the past that, you know, from Army surplus. And there is the thumbnail.